All right, are you feeling kind of football-y today? I hope so. Music should get you jazzed. Welcome aboard, Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, one of our live shows here on a Wednesday morning. Good morning, everybody. Don't forget to like us and follow us, or subscribe to us, I should say, on our YouTube channel at MC Show Digital. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at, yes, right here on my shirt, if I can find the right way to point, Bayberry Automotive. Integrity and everything right across the street from the Bayberry Plaza in Liverpool. Go see our friends at Bayberry Auto today. Everybody needs a good mechanic. Why not have one that's honest and believes in integrity? That's our friends at Bayberry Automotive. Ooh, we got a good show for you today. Training camp is underway. Press conferences are happening, and the Dallas Cowboys are making some noise. We're going to get into that for sure. We've got holdouts. We've got interesting scenarios going on. And of course, inevitably, we'll have competition, battles for positions. Who's going to start? Who's going to get in there as wide receiver two? Who's going to be the quarterback? So on and so forth. As a matter of fact, this morning, my New York Football Giants dropping the news. Oh, I'm shocked. I'm surprised. I don't even know what to do at the moment. I wanted to run to my phone and start tweeting out stuff. And that is that the starting quarterback has been announced for the Giants, and it will be Russell Wilson. So Jackson Dart is going to sit. He is going to wait. So just a little, we all knew it, but here's the big breaking news kind of thing. Boy Green, good morning.
Yeah.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, and thank you for that. I was on the edge of my seat,
Yes,
so
I
I'm
knew.
glad we finally have
It's
that
almost like
answer.
fall backwards out of your chair kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. When you said they've announced the starting quarterback, I was like, famous Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson. By God, could it have been Tommy DeVito? So I was on the edge of my seat, Lurch. So thank you for cracking that code. And yeah, baby, I just heard the first Aaron Glenn press conference that happened an hour ago. So yeah, we're off to the races, baby.
We're off to the races. Hey, before we get into football, just a little side thing. So, uh, I'm drinking a little drink here today. You can see it here. It's from my friends at the Dunkin'. All right, they're not a sponsor, but
Oh,
I'm
is that a
giving them
new sponsor?
$3. No, they're not.
Oh,
Maybe we should reach out to Dunkin'. That'd be
yeah,
nice.
sure. Yeah,
Get
yeah.
ourselves a national sponsor here. Uh,
Nice. Yeah.
so it got me thinking. Do you recognize this at all? By the way, aside from it being Dunkin' Donuts, what the drink might actually be?
Is it like a dragon fruit refresher?
No, it's not a dragon fruit refresher, but it is a
Ah.
refresher of sorts.
Oh, okay,
It is
nice.
called
Okay,
the pink drink, right? Or the pink
okay,
refresher, okay?
okay.
Uh, and I don't know, actually, former intern Brian had mentioned it on our Pittsburgh trip that it was kind of his go-to drink. And I was like, pink drink? I don't know about that, right? And then I was like, I was at Dunkin' one day. I didn't feel like what I normally have. And I was just like, all right, Brian says the pink drink's pretty good. I'll try it. Can I get one of those pink drinks? So they mix me up a pink drink and I take it and bring it in the car and take a sip out of it. It's like, damn, this thing's pretty good.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's kind of recently become my go-to morning drink because I've migrated away from coffee. I told you in the studio months ago, like, I gotta stop this coffee. Coffee is just giving me a bad reaction. So I got to find something else. And so I found this pink drink, which I think has guava in it. And it's got the sparkling water. So it's got a
Ooh,
little fizz to it, but it's not like soda where it's really bubbly, but it's a little bubbly, which is interesting. I don't usually do bubbly things, but here I am.
okay.
And it just made me raise the question. And Boy Green, I know you're probably, this is probably a dumb question to ask you. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's a dumb question to ask you. I was going to say, what is your go to drink? I mean, even in the morning, is it Mountain Dew? And there you are, slugging your usual Mountain Dew. Oh
Sure.
my God, man, that is rough in the morning. My stomach would not be able to take Mountain Dew in the morning. The pink drink, I can handle it. Mountain Dew, I don't know.
I'm a very limited and simple man here, Lurch. Here are a couple of the drinks that are in the fridge.
Hmm.
I have water. So, okay, we also have water. You got to balance it all out. So, we have a nice little water cooler here. It's efficient. It saves money instead of buying water bottles and saves the environment and all that jazz. I'm all for it. So, we got water here available. I have Mountain Dew, and then I drink a glacial freeze Gatorade.
Hmm.
So that's it. So those are the three drinks. It is either water, Mountain Dew, or Gatorade. That is
Hmm.
it. Those are the only three liquids that I intake there, Lurch. That's it. Very
All right.
simple.
We're getting some morning hellos, so let me just jump in and welcome some of the people who have already migrated into our chat. Thanks for joining us. Big
Big
Al
Al.
joining us. He said jello, fellas, although I think he meant to say hello. But I liked it
Or
better
maybe
as
it's a
Jello.
soft J, Lurch.
Just
It could
leave
be a
it. Like
soft J.
I like
Yeah.
Jello, fellas. Jello, fellas.
Sure.
Jello.
Yeah. There
It's
you
like
go.
it's
It's
like a
gonna catch
side
on.
saying.
Yeah.
Jamie, the FedEx guy, we'll see a lot of him over the years here,
Oh
folks.
boy, that's
Hi,
for
guys.
sure.
It's me again. Go Bears. Oh, Lord. Let's get
There you
that off
go.
the
Nice.
screen. All
Yeah,
right.
Bears.
And Hep is back in today. Hello, Hep. Saying
What's
hello,
up, Hep?
fellers. Fellers. I like it, fellers. So, yeah, modify the spellings. Be a little fun. We like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know when it's happening, Lurch. That'll be up to you to discuss whenever we're opening up the phone lines in the future, or how we do it, or when we do it.
Yeah.
When Hep eventually calls in, he is a "Hey fellers" guy. He
Okay.
says that every time. That is his greeting of choice. So I respect it.
Okay. And Hep jumping in here again. He says, "Hey, Lurch. Hey, by the way, my name is Lerch, not Lurch. You can mess up with spelling with other things, but people's names, don't mess with people's names, Hep. That's not good. That's not
I
good.
heard that can
All
cause
right.
a lot of issues,
That can
Lurch.
cause a lot of issues with people. Yeah. I've been down that road, haven't I, Paul? We won't share
I
that story on the air
I may
today.
know
That
a
is,
story.
yeah, we may know a story or two. But I was looking up Jets memorabilia in the upstate area. We're up here in the central New York. Look, they call us upstate. This is called central New York, where we are, Hep. Central New York, not upstate. Because if you talk to a New Yorker, you say upstate. Upstate's like Westchester, Rockland counties, right? You talk to somebody in those places, and upstate is like Albany and Schenectady. And then it's very, New York's wacky as
That
terms
is a
of
good
what's
point.
upstate and downstate.
When
Yes.
people ask me where I'm from, I'm pretty sure I don't say Central New York. I definitely say upstate. So like I'm
Do
butchering
you
it too,
really?
apparently.
Okay. I
Yeah.
don't. I would say Syracuse or I would say Central New York. Uh, but he said on Facebook Marketplace, there are a lot of Giant stuff there as well. Yes, Hep, you should know Central New York, where Paul and I are broadcasting from. Central New York or the greater Syracuse area, I would say the fan base here is about 50% Bills and 50% Giants. And there have been polls done over the years as to which team is better. You'd think it would be the Bills because the Bills are in proximity, much closer.
Right, sure, like an hour
Basically
and a
about
half away at St.
yeah,
John
2 hours,
Fisher,
2 hours.
right?
It's not an hour and a half, about 2 hours and
No, I
15
said
minutes.
St. John Fisher,
Oh, St. John Fisher, right?
where they do
where
their
right,
training camp.
correct. Where the stadium is, though, it's about 2 hours from Syracuse to get to Buffalo, maybe a little more than 2 hours. To get to New York or to the Meadowlands, Giants and where the Giants and Jets play, it's about 4 plus, so,
For
you
sure.
know, double the drive. So you would think that the migration would be a little bit, and there are plenty of rabid Bills fans in Central New York, but there are really a lot of Giant fans as well. And we do even see a smattering of Jets fans up here. So it's definitely a New York state of mind, dare I say, to quote Billy Joel. But
There you go.
nonetheless, yeah, it is definitely a Giants Bills world. And us Giant fans would argue, it's Giants, the Giants, 51-49 Giants, but the Bills fans would argue the other way. So there you go, a little bit on the fandom in there. Al, would you stop? I don't even want to pop this up. Where did the Cowboys land on the poll? Yeah, they didn't. Okay, we tried not to. All right, we tried not to put the Cowboys on the poll. I know Al's a diehard Cowboys fan. Oh, we're going to have that rub all season long now, aren't we? All right. So, look, I do want to get into the NFL stuff, and we will start, dare I say, Al, with your Cowboys, who are making some noise, dare I say. Boy Green, tell folks what's going on. I'll let you explain. Then we're going to listen to some sound, and then we're going to talk all about it.
Yeah, I mean, let's just put it bluntly. I have no idea what the hell the Dallas Cowboys are doing, and I'm sure that's not the first time Big Al has ever heard that as a Dallas Cowboys fan in our audience. Micah Parsons is looking for a new deal. Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons had a handshake agreement back in March that Mike would be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. But that field goal post has moved several times. Jamar Chase, we've had TJ Watt, we've had Myles Garrett, we've had a lot of guys sort of happening, yet the deal isn't getting done. And at the most basic level, after Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones had that handshake agreement, Micah said, okay, all you have to do, Jerry and Steven, his son, is talk to my agent, David Mulgaleta. Talk to him and let's bang this out. And Jerry and Steven have refused to talk to the agent because they want to just do it the old school way. Jerry Jones, it's me. Let's get rid of the middleman. Hand-to-hand combat. Let's figure this out. And Parsons, rightfully so, has hired an agent to help him through this process. And of course, that's smart advice to have someone that has the battle scars to work his way through it. It's one of the biggest agencies, Athletes First, on the planet. So makes a lot of sense. It's caused a lot of issues. And now we're here on July 23rd, and training camp is going on in Oxnard. Oxnard for the Dallas Cowboys, and Micah Parsons is present. But it sounds like there could be like a hold-in situation where he doesn't practice and things of that nature. And it's led to a lot of drama. So let's go through all the layers of drama here, Lerch. First off, I'll throw this screenshot up because Jerry Jones really stirred the waters here, Lerch. He does this like massive intro training camp press conference every year. And in his press conference, he randomly took shots at Micah Parsons and even Dak Prescott, his quarterback, about paying people and them not being available. Dak Prescott, I think, only appeared in 8 games last season. Micah Parsons missed 4 games last season due to injury. And he's like, sometimes when you pay guys guaranteed money, they don't show up for you. And J.J. Watt, the future Pro Football Hall of Famer, tweeted out in response to the viral Jerry Jones clip. He said, quote, as you guys can see on the screen, anytime you can publicly take a dig at your star quarterback and your star pass rusher simultaneously right before the season begins, you just got to take it. J.J. Watt saying sarcastically, nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are that they got hurt while fighting for you. You'll notice at the top there, if you zoom in, Micah Parsons reposted that. That's currently on his Twitter, taking a shot at Jerry Jones. So, Lerch, to start it off, this is where it's all started here, and then it sort of spins off into everything else here. You're on mute, Lerch.
Thanks, Paul. I took a drink and I must have muted my mic.
Right.
Thanks for telling me that. Jerry Jones, we were talking about this off air before the show today. We're having our little production meeting. I hate to be an ageist, because I'm not. I really respect my elders. I respect people who are older. I think as someone who's getting older myself, I understand how battle scars, how life gives you wisdom. I think, frankly, United States culture, our culture, is unfortunately skewed away from those being older equals those being wiser. If you look at Eastern cultures like, Chinese and Japanese culture, if you look at Native American culture, the elders are revered. The head of the Indian or the native tribe is the oldest typically, or is one of the elder. They have the council of elders. Okay. And obviously you see the same thing in Chinese and Japanese culture as well, in Asian culture. We are completely the opposite. As soon as people get above a certain age, we just say they're out of their mind, they're living in the past, they don't get it, yada yada. They get criticized because they aren't up with the times, so to speak. We're such a fast moving technological society in the US. So we have this thing. It exists. There's nothing, I don't know there's anything we can do about it, but it just is. It is what it is. So I'm the exact opposite. But when it comes to to owner GMs, Jerry Jones is proving all those people that believe in that in the US correct. That you shouldn't respect your elders, and that your elders are off on the farm somewhere not paying any attention, because this guy has lost his savvy to understand public relations, to understand what a modern day owner slash GM does and how they operate. Jerry talks all the time about culture, Boy Green. We hear it all the time. Cowboys culture. I mean, he built a palace down there in Dallas. Not only the stadium, but their facilities, everything around the stadium. Yeah, right. It's called the Star, right? We saw it in one of the Hard Knocks, right, a couple of years ago.
Right.
I mean, it's like its own village. It's its own town. It's like going to, anybody ever go to Celebration down in Florida, and you the minute you enter the gates of Celebration, which is in the Orlando area in Florida, you're in this beautiful white picket fence neighborhood. Every house is beautiful. They're all probably multi-million-dollar houses because you're just in this pristine. It almost, if you've ever seen the movie The Truman Show, it kind of looks like
I love that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like The Truman Show. They're just beautiful white picket houses and picket fences and these very well cared for
picturesque
houses. Everything's picturesque. They have their own hospital on the campus. They have their own town square. You could stay in there. They have all their own restaurants in the town square. It's beautiful. They do snow out of the lamps year round. So it's like, it's snowing in Celebration every single night. It's a cool place to go. I think it was created by the folks at Disney. I don't know if Disney still owns it or
Oh,
not,
okay.
but real people live there. You could buy a house in Celebration and live in Celebration, Florida. So that's what, Jerry has created for the Cowboys down there, their own little town, their own little village, their own little, you don't have to go anywhere to get anything thing. So the guy is invested, the guy has spent money, but he's just gone off the farm in terms of understanding how today's players think, understanding how today's PR works, and he's just creating nightmares every time he steps in front of the microphone. And the problem is, Boy Green, that because he's the head cheese, because dare I say the buck stops with him, it doesn't appear even his son that anybody can get through to him to say to him, hey, Dad, that was a little. That was a little rough. You need to fix that, Dad. You shouldn't have said that. I don't think the PR people that are around him, he may have smart people around him, but they can't change his mind. He just wants to be what he wants to be. And
He
he's just
loves to be
become,
talked about, Lurch.
right. I think he loves the attention. He's always had a giant ego. I mean, you ever see his yacht? We saw it, right? with the white couches. I mean, it's like,
Sure.
what's going on here? I mean, Jerry does everything big. There's a little, dare I say, Vegas in Jerry. But what he's doing now, this is in his prime star player that every team would want on their roster. I would die to
Of
have him
course.
on the Giants. I've complained
Yeah.
forever that we could have actually drafted him and he would have never had to deal with all this Jerry Jones nonsense. So the fact that he's in any way alienating this particular guy is it's cringeworthy. It's just cringeworthy, Boy Green. There's no other way to describe it. Jerry's just gone off
So
the reservation.
So without further ado, let's play some of the
Yeah, let's
footage.
do that.
Micah Parsons was not scheduled to have a press conference, but he decided to have one anyway, impromptu with the media he saw over there,
Mhm.
and said, "Oh, I'm sure they'll be interested in what I have to say." And they were, for those curious. And here we go. Let's go to this footage. This is from Micah Parsons at his impromptu press conference yesterday there in Oxnard. Here we go. Let me make sure I have this on the screen. Okay, one moment here. Here we go. This is, again, Micah Parsons speaking with the media. Here we go.
How would you characterize how close you are to getting something done?
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see how long things take, That's it.
Are you discouraged by the fact that it's taken this long?
Honestly, yeah. When you go around the league and you see these other teams taking care of their best guys, I see TJ got taken care of. Max got taken care of. Miles got taken care of. And he got 2 years left on his deal. So it's hard to, you see a lot of people around the league getting taken care of. You just, wish you had something like, that same type of energy,
It's hard to not take it personally.
I wouldn't say it's hard not to take it personally when you know how there's a chain of events of something consistently happening over the course of years when you kind of see it before through other players and things. So you don't take it personally when you're like, all right, it's not like I'm getting treated differently than anyone else, So I don't take it personally. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
He just doesn't understand, Lurch.
And by the way, that's Trayvon Diggs next to him chiming in, naming,
Correct.
what, naming the guys that have recently
Sauce.
been paid because they're franchise pieces to their respective teams. Why aren't you taking that? And by the way, Trayvon Diggs has been paid, okay?
He has.
And
Yes.
probably Dak Prescott, if he was standing next to him, would be saying the same thing. And he has been paid. So you want to know the funny thing, Boy Green, is I fully
What's that?
believe that Jerry is going to pay Micah. But the fact that he does this around it and creates this spectacle, just it hurts the locker room, and it has to hurt his relationship with Micah in some way. And maybe it could get to the point where Micah is really literally that insulted and just says, you know what? I'm not going to sign, even if he offers me crazy money. I'm not going to sign, and I'm just going to go to free agency and go play for someone else because I don't want to deal with this nonsense. There could come a point. So Jerry could cross a very, very delicate line at some point. I don't think he's crossed it yet, but I do think that this ought to be a shot across the across the bow for Jerry Jones to get this thing done and get it done sooner rather than later. That's what I think.
It's just, again, to your point about you having sort of this conviction that Jerry eventually gets the deal done. He always has. Dak Prescott,
Yeah.
it took all the way to the morning of game 1 last year, but it happened. CeeDee Lamb, There was a lot of awkwardness. It eventually happened. So any star that Jerry has ever wanted, he has eventually gotten a deal done. But as always, it's on his terms, which is always interesting. And then one more just screenshot to share here. This is also from the press conference that happened earlier. And Parsons said some teams like Max Crosby with the Raiders, knew they were coming up and the Raiders took care of him. Must be nice. He is very upset with how he's been treated thus far, Lurch.
Yeah, and that's I mean, you want your star player being upset. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, nothing makes sense. He's
Nothing makes
26. He
sense.
plays a premium position. He's been a superstar Hall of Fame level player early on in his career. What reason is there not to pay him outside of the very small and, to me, lazy criticism? Oh, he podcasts too much. Hey, if he delivers like that on the field, he can podcast as much as the hell he wants to, as far as I'm concerned.
Bad show punching this in. I want to let you take a whack at this
Oh,
one,
yes.
Green. What do you think about Brian Schottenheimer? He thinks he's going to be a good coach. Wish he wasn't in Dallas. I don't know. I think I might be on the other side of that. It's hard to judge coaches until they're with a roster and you see how they operate, and what kind of staff they put together. It looks like he's put together a pretty good staff there in Dallas, but I don't know. I didn't love McCarthy there, but I thought they could have hired somebody much more established. So that was my initial thought when it happened. What do you think about Schottenheimer in Dallas?
Yeah, I would say this. First off, the whole Mike McCarthy thing was an epic disaster.
Disaster.
You know, of like they wanted to keep him, they wanted him to, they didn't want to keep him. There was just a lot of drama there, and you know, when has there not been drama? Excuse me, with the Dallas Cowboys, which is always a beast into its own. So I will be honest, and Brian said the same thing that I'm about to say. I thought the window sort of passed for Brian Schottenheimer to be a head coach at the NFL level.
Me too.
He had moments where he was the hot young kid in town. Badshaw, of course, is a Jets fan, so he knows that Brian Schottenheimer obviously cut his teeth here as an offensive coordinator under the Rex Ryan years and with the Rex Ryan teams coming up here. So he knows Brian Schottenheimer had his opportunities, but it sort of seemed like it passed. Like, in the NFL, there was a wave of time where you were the hot thing. Ben Johnson was just the hot thing. Schottenheimer for a time. And this was dating back, oh, good Lord, 12 years ago when he was the quote-unquote hot thing. And his father, of course, is a famous coach, Marty Schottenheimer, God rest his soul. And he's a legendary coach in his own right. So that name value can keep you in the league forever. And obviously, he's been in a lot of different places. He's been able to carve it all out. The Jets and Cowboys play week 5. We'll be at that game. Badshaw will be at that game to see Brian Schottenheimer. I like Brian Schottenheimer, the guy, the person, the family man. I just don't know to the point of like the Dallas Cowboys pressure. Like, hey, if you could be a head coach anywhere, you're a head coach anywhere. And Dallas is special. To be the head coach of Dallas Cowboys is iconic. But boy, I thought for sure the Cowboys were going to, if you were going to move on from Mike McCarthy and not give him the things that he wanted, I thought you would have went at Deion Sanders. I thought there would have been a splash.
Big splash,
You know, early in the 2000s, they went after Bill Parcells out of retirement. That was a big splash back in the day over 20 years ago. And that made a lot of sense. I thought they would have done that with Deion Sanders, had the Cowboys connection, it has been a raving success in college football. So Brian Schottenheimer surprised me. I think it surprised a lot of people in Dallas. Like, oh my goodness, this is where they're going to go. But Brian Schottenheimer has a great chance here. He's an offensive whiz. Dak Prescott's
got a good roster. Got a very good roster.
A very good roster. Hey, it's a quarterback-driven league, and when Dak Prescott has been healthy, the Cowboys have made the playoffs. So
they're like an
when
11-plus win team when he's in the lineup for a full season. You can't debate that. The Cowboys have been a good regular season team with a healthy Dak, period.
Yeah, very, very clearly. And they've been a really good drafting team. They've drafted a lot of their homegrown talent. C.D. Lamb is terrific, obviously. Micah Parsons is really good. And they got Trayvon Diggs. They have all these players all over the roster that are incredibly talented. So I think if Dak Prescott's healthy, I think Brian Schottenheimer is going to have a really good first season with the Cowboys, and we'll see where it goes beyond that. But I like Brian Schottenheimer a lot, and we'll sort of see what he is. He's going to be one of the most fascinating storylines in the NFL, Lerch, because if the Cowboys are a disaster, that's delicious, and I imagine that's going to be content on this show. If he's terrific, of course the Dallas Cowboys are going to be in the news for them being terrific and them taking them to another level. So, yeah, I like Brian Schottenheimer a lot. What do you make of Brian Schotty?
I was shocked when they made the hire. Shocked. can't believe that Jerry Jones, who clearly loves to make a splash even when it's in the wrong direction, went for essentially, you've heard me use this term before, a scoop of vanilla ice cream. This is
Right.
vanilla ice cream. This is a guy that I'm not saying that Brian Schottenheimer doesn't have great football knowledge. That Brian
Sure.
Schottenheimer, I mean, the guy, it's in his veins. I mean, his dad was in the game forever. He grew up in that environment. There's no question he has football in his veins. But the Dallas Cowboys are a different animal. And then you have to deal with Jerry and how Jerry wants to be the mouthpiece. Now, Schottenheimer, maybe just like McCarthy, it doesn't feel to me, you might know him a little better than me, Boy Green, but it doesn't feel to me like he's a, like, I want to get in front of the microphone kind of guy.
He is not
So,
that kind of guy.
I think that would have been one of the real challenges with Dion, because Dion
Oh,
likes
yeah.
to front himself. Dion doesn't need Jerry to be his front man. And maybe that's why that was destined not to come together. Is because Jerry knows if Dion comes in, Dion's talking for Dion. Dion doesn't want Jerry talking for Dion. And you could see possibly the head,
The clashing
banging.
of that, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I just don't. So Schottenheimer's very, to me, like similar to McCarthy. He'll just, okay, I'll just coach the team over here. Just, Jerry says what Jerry's saying. I'm not going to worry about it, but let me coach the team. That's what it feels like to me. But it was just not a sexy hire. That's really what I can say about it. Proof is in the pudding. I want to see how he coaches this team before I make any judgments about what kind of coach he is for the Cowboys. But I did not like the hire. I did not think it was a sexy hire. I thought it was a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, and we'll see where it all goes. Here's the problem. Dallas is built to win now. Brian Schottenheimer is inevitably going to go through rookie head coach struggles as he's figuring this out, doing the head coaching thing for the first time ever. Now, again, he had a firsthand look at his dad and Mike McCarthy, successful coaches that he was on the staff for or around, so he sort of knows what it's supposed to look like. So we'll see if he can translate that. But, he's going to have to get the accelerant very quickly. This is not a rebuild. This is not, hey, you get time to learn on the job. He has to learn immediately. And so that's a lot of inherent pressure.
Well, there's always a lot of Cowboy fans out there, and one of them is your father. There he is,
there he is.
jumping in. No way. Cowboys should hire, I think that meant to say hire Dion, period.
Yeah.
So your dad is not a Dion guy. That's a little surprising to me.
Yeah.
And his follow-up comment on that is he's not a proven coach at any level. Ooh, well, there's some fight words there. I think he's done good yeoman's work out there in Colorado. That program was in devastated fashion when he arrived.
Oh, they were awful.
He has certainly returned it to, at the very least, respectability, if not even above respectability. So I don't know that Big Paul, if I can buy all of that, but I agree with you. I don't think they should hire Dion, period. I do agree with that part.
And proven coach, what about Jackson State? We're just going to laugh at it because of its level.
Right.
Like he had to start somewhere to get that opportunity. So, I think that's a little too much heat. Now, here's the pressure would have been if you hire Dion or if the Cowboys would have drafted Shador, which a lot of people talked about, there would be inherent pressure that Brian Schottenheimer could be immediately fired so Dion could coach his son at the next level. So there would have been a lot of inherent pressures with some of that too.
I don't disagree. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Bayberry Automotive, integrity in everything. I also saw a post, Boy Green. I guess we could get to it later, unless you want to address it now. I know we're in the middle of football talk here, but when one of our lovely sponsors literally jumps in and offers a thought, I think we should, give him the stage, dare I say. And Sean Hines, a wonderful guy, is the owner of Play It Again Sports. They're one of our primary sponsors, and he's a guy that's looking at your Red Sox, wondering what they might do as we're approaching the trade deadline here. Is there a piece that the Sox could go out to compete for a World Series? And by the way, Sean, thanks for tuning in to our live show today.
Yes, absolutely. So shout out again, of course, to Sean, and thank you for interacting. Real quick, before I answer Sean, we are streaming live on our Facebook page, The Manchild Show Boy Green Digital, our YouTube page, The Manchild Show Boy Green Digital, and my YouTube page, Boy Green. So make sure you guys like the video and hit subscribe, baby, here on the program, and show your support. And you guys can always ask questions just like that here on the show if you'd like to. So to answer, Sean, I'm on ESPN's website about breaking down all the trade deadline, because obviously we have that in about 8 days is the official trade line in MLB. And the question that Jeff Passan posed is, should they just stand pat, or could they just stand pat and actually not make a move? And sometimes, Sean, the best move you can make is the move you
don't
didn't.
make.
Yeah, 100%. So that could be here. What Jeff Passan says is the biggest need is for their best asset. He has listed in here as Jaron Duran as their best asset. He said their best fit would be Joe Ryan. So I guess if you're looking for a name, I guess Joe Ryan would be the name there, Sean. Joe Ryan, let me get his stats up so far this season.
Yeah, Passan, just to jump in while you're looking that up. I mean, Passan is a great baseball mind. He's around the place. We've had him on the show in the past on a radio show. Maybe we'll bring him back to the digital world. I know he's become big time now, Mr. ESPN there. But Passan is a really good baseball mind, and he's well connected in MLB. So I'd have good respect for what he's hearing out there, what might be a good fit for even someone like the Red Sox. Go ahead, Boy Green.
So Joe Ryan, he believes is the best fit at the trade deadline. Joe Ryan's out there in Minnesota. He's 29 years old. He's having a career season. He has a 2.63 ERA right now. He's got a 10-4 record as a starting pitcher here. Let me try to get any other statistics. But that is the name that is circled here for Jeff Passan. So that would make sense potentially for that being added to the rotation for the Red Sox. But also, again, there's a little bit of a debate here of potentially maybe don't make any move, especially after the Rafael Devers move. And that caused a lot of, hoopla among Red Sox fans like, geez, what are we doing here? What's happening?
Yeah.
And then the Red Sox went on their first 10-game winning streak in a season since 2018, which is the last time they won the World Series. So, sometimes, it's not just about talent, Lerch. It's about, clubhouse culture. And Rafael Devers with some of the stuff we saw in there, that caused a lot of beef. And I don't know if you saw this, Lerch, speaking of Rafael Devers. So he didn't want to stay with the Red Sox because of the whole debate over the first base thing.
know.
And earlier this week, he just got his first start at first base for the San Francisco Giants. So full circle, buddy. I don't want to play first base. And now in your new place, you just got traded to. Now you're playing first base, pal.
I'm not going to defend idiot Devers because when you're getting paid that kind of money, you just you do what the team needs.
Do whatever they say.
They had injuries and they needed him. His claim, from how I understand it, goes all the way back to training camp, or spring training, I should say, not training camp,
right?
Baseball, it's spring training, where they told him that he was going to be the DH this year, and that he got ready to be the DH, and now all of a sudden someone goes down. They say, "Hey, we need you at first." What do you mean? I'm the DH. That's what you told me. That's what I've prepared for. What do you expect me to, adapt on the fly here? I mean, you only pay me tens of millions of dollars. Why the heck would I do that? So I just don't buy the whole Rafael Devers mantra. I mean, team player is team player. You can't say you're a team player and then not do what the team is trying to, asking you to do when it would help the team. Now, maybe he was, I don't know, maybe if I want to take his side of the argument, which I really don't, but I'll take his side of the argument for a minute and say, yeah, but I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself at first base because I haven't taken ground balls in spring training and I didn't get myself ready to play first base. All right, well, take a few now. I mean, do the extra work now and do your best to get ready, and if it goes wrong, and if you just screw up at first base, you have the defense of, these guys put me out there at first. I haven't played first in ages. You got to blame it essentially on management for sticking you out there. So I think either way, there's an out for you. And if you do it successfully, then you're a hero. So I just don't get it. I don't know why he went down that road. But anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't understand about it, because here's the thing. If Rafael Devers had not received his big deal yet, that I could understand if I don't want to look like an idiot, and then that could affect my market value or money or anything coming in. He had the money. Okay, if you look like an idiot, okay, I'm looking like an idiot for $300 million.
Exactly, right, exactly. All right, I want to get back to football, but Sean, thank you for that question. Always great, and feel free, always, folks, to chime in. And if we don't get to your question right away, I'll try and get to it before we wrap up, especially when we're doing our live broadcast. So please do that. And we've had some really, really good content we've been dropping all week long outside of our live shows. We're dropping some Syracuse, Central New York content coming up later this week. Mike McAllister, I spoke to. He's one of our Syracuse football and basketball insiders. We talked to him about Boeheim's Army getting knocked out of TBT. We might talk about that a little bit before we get out of here today. I talked to Mike about what's going on with both the SU football and SU basketball program. Some really fascinating news things going on in both, so you don't want to miss that. And Boy Green just interviewed Emmanuel Barbari. I'm sure I missed that interview. I'm so sad I missed that interview, Boy Green, but he's a guy who fills in for the Yankees on play-by-play. He's involved in their pregame show. Barbari's a Fordham grad, so I have a nice little rub with him because I'm a Syracuse guy. He's a Fordham guy. They both have great broadcasting programs, so I heard you defended me or whatever. You represented in some way, Boy Green. Maybe you didn't defend me. You probably abused me.
I definitely did not defend you. I totally threw you under
Usually
the bus.
without me around, I get abused, right? That's the way it works. Unless
that totally happened. Myself. You guys will be able to experience that tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock when Emmanuel Barbari and Sean Hines played against Sports Syracuse here, because you're a Red Sox guy, so you don't want to hear anything that Emmanuel Barbari, Yankees guy, has to say. But he's the postgame host and has been filling in as the voice of the Yankees on several occasions throughout the season. And he's been on TV. He's been on the SNY program with their buddy Sal Licata, Lerch. So I don't know if you've seen any of that with Emmanuel. So he's been all over the place, TV, radio, and everything. So I really appreciate him taking the time. Again, he'll join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. So I hope you guys can check that out. And just one last thing, saluting Sean Hines here. Devers move was right on. Agree with passing, need starting pitching. Don't trade Duran. I'll make sure we send that message over to the Red Sox. Sean.
Okay, we won't trade him. We won't trade him. Oh, these Red Sox guys. Man, you guys are obnoxious, you Red Sox fans. I don't know. Glad I'm a Met fan. I'm out of that whole Yankee Red Sox malaise that exists. But thank you, Sean. Always great to hear from you. And thanks for, again, being a partner to our wonderful digital show here.
Means the world.
Do appreciate it. And, go down and check those guys out on Erie Boulevard in DeWitt, our friends at Play It Again Sports. Great people. Okay. Any more on Parsons before we move on to some of the others, Boy Green, because there are multiple stories. You have any other closure on Parsons? So we know Jerry's nuts. We both believe that Micah is going to get paid by the Cowboys unless Jerry pushes this line a little too far. I don't see it getting there, but you never know with Jerry, I guess. It would scare me a little bit as a Cowboys fan, but I think he's proven, even though he's slow to the punch, he's slow to pay, that he's eventually going to do it. Oh, and let me just lay one other layer on this before we move on from it. Jerry, we didn't get to play any of Jerry's comments, but Jerry spoke too. And Jerry was like, not only kind of bad-mouthing Parsons in a way, whether he felt like he was directly doing that or not, he was. But he talked about paying players, including he mentioned – did he mention Dak by name? I'm not sure if he mentioned him by name. I think he did, right?
He did. He did mention him by name because he said, we paid the highest guy, Dak Prescott, who played in 8 games last year.
So he's literally picking on his own players for being hurt and missing games in the game of football, and that it's difficult in some way. I'm paraphrasing now, so I don't want to put words in Jerry's mouth. But my take was it's difficult sometimes to make decisions about paying guys who aren't always on the field. Like, Jerry, it's football. Taking on your own guys who you've already paid to say, what, I live in the temple of regret? I don't understand this. How does this help your football team going into training camp?
I just think it's unrealistic expectations. Like, sure, are owners not happy to be paying injured guys? I imagine not. I don't like lighting money on fire, so I'm sure they don't either. But that's part of the opportunity cost here. You just know it's a very violent and physical sport, and no one's ever going to stay perfectly healthy for the entire time. So that's sort of what you just sort of take at the front, knowing what's going to happen.
Correct.
And again, it went to J.J. Watt's tweet that we brought up, that players love nothing more sarcastically than their owner and GM, for that matter, taking shots at them. They're fighting for Jerry Jones on the field, and they get hurt in the art of battle, and then they're like, way to not stay on the field, pal. And you're like, whoa, what the hell? I was doing it for you, man. So that just could cause all kinds of rifts.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's move to some of these other players, Boy Green. Let's kick it on over to this guy right here, Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals. Trouble in the barrio, my friend. What do you have on this one?
This one is just hard to wrap your mind around. Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks last year. Number 1, first place, sacking the quarterback. A very important quality to have as a pass rusher coming in here. So for Trey Hendrickson, I don't understand why the Bengals haven't paid him. And basically what Trey's been very open about this, what he wants is guarantees beyond just the first year. He does not just want to be guaranteed in the first year of his contract. He wants long-term financial security, and he believes that he's put up the prerequisite production that should warrant getting paid. And he says, I don't have to be the highest paid non-quarterback. I don't have to top Myles Garrett. I don't have to top TJ Watt, even though my production's better. I just want to feel secure, me and my family. And the Bengals have been stingy, insert the Velcro wallet sound for old Mike Brown over there. He's always been that way. And he's dealing with the situation with the guy who was supposed to fill in for Trey Hendrickson, Shamar Stewart, who's also unsigned. And they're in a very heated contract battle. So the players reported for training camp this week, Lerch, and Trey Hendrickson took a picture to social media as he was on the road to Florida. Him and his wife are going to be just driving down to Florida to spend time. He says he'll keep working out down there, but basically let me know when the Bengals decide to pay me. So, wow.
Yeah. I mean, can the Bengals pay all these guys? I suppose that they can. They got to figure out their cap situation, but they're paying Burrow. They just paid Chase. They're paying T. Higgins. They've got decisions to make, but this guy to me is another guy. It's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, if he's not kind of an anchor to what the Bengals seem to struggle with the most, and that's having a good defense, I don't know how, when your defense is what their defense is, that you let a guy like this hang, drive, blow in the wind, hang in the wind, whatever the cliche is there. It's befuddling to me. This team, in order to be successful and have any chance to get into playoffs, make a run, they have to have someone. They have to have a player. They have to have Trey Hendrickson. I don't want to say player. They have to have Trey Hendrickson on their defense. He has to be part of it, period.
Yeah, and I'm trying to give some love to the Bengals here because I don't want to be unfair. Mike Brown opened his Velcro wallet for Joe Burrow. He did it for Jamar Chase. He did it for T. Higgins. So he's paid some big buco bucks deals, and he bent the knee Game of Thrones style on some of his normal contract sticking points that he doesn't bend the knee on. He did it for Joe Burrow, and for obvious reasons that you want to get Joe Burrow signed, and you're not going to die on principle here. But the Bengals defense sucked last year. Their offense was awesome. And if you watch the quarterback series on Netflix, obviously that highlights a lot of points. If you watch a Netflix show, a terrific program, season 2, shout out to Peyton Manning and Patrick Mahomes, who are executive producers on that series. And if the Bengals defense stunk and your plan is, Trey Hendrickson doesn't have to be on this team, the guy who led the league in sacks was the only good thing on your defense, that just sounds like a recipe for failure. And quite frankly, the same thing happening again. You've switched defensive coordinators, so maybe that's going to make a change. But not having your league sack guy, I think if the Bengals want to be as all-in, they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. They were just a couple of plays away from beating the Rams team, and they would have won their first Super Bowl in franchise history. And the Bengals, have not been there since. So, Lerch, they need to find a way to pay Trey. I don't know why you wouldn't increase guarantees into his second year. He's more than proven himself. He's taken bets on himself. He was willing to not get paid. Now it's time to get paid. He's making like $16 million this year. The highest paid pass rusher in football is making $41 million and change. And TJ Watt, a $41 million to $16 million gap. That is a ridiculous gap to have. And so the Bengals need to figure it out. Are they going to figure it out? I'm not so sure. I will tell you this. If they don't pay him, the Bills, one of these other contending teams could swoop in with a trade, and they say, "Oh, you won't pay him? Well, we will," and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways, I mean, look, Watt is a way more, ultimately established player. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. The Steelers, they were in a difficult predicament with him because he's like an iconic player for the Steelers. And the Steelers have this reputation we've talked about for years and years as being a very stable organization, of taking care of their own. And I think that they're signing, TJ Watt to this extension is a much greater risk than I think the Bengals, moving forward. This guy, even though Hendrickson is not the player that Watt is ultimately, or at least certainly not at this point. But I think there's less risk with Hendrickson because he's a younger guy. He's a guy that, I think maybe there's a little more gas in the tank. You agree with me on that one, Boy Green? Is there a little more gas in the tank in Trey Hendrickson than there is TJ Watt? I think so.
Let me double check ages real quick.
Go ahead and check it.
To be honest,
I am just speaking off the top of my head, but I that's my feeling in watching the two guys play.
Right. TJ Watt is 30 years of age. He turns 31 on October 11th. Trey Hendrickson actually is the same age. He is 30. He turns 31 in December.
So I'm dead wrong on that then. Okay. All right.
Yeah, they're the same age. And your point stands to the standpoint that TJ Watt's been
doesn't it feel like he has a lot of doesn't it feel like he's had a lot of mileage? It's probably the injuries, but
for
it feels
sure.
like he has a lot of mileage, right?
There's been mileage, there's been injuries, and to be honest, I agree with you. TJ Watt has a bigger name than Trey Hendrickson. He has bigger cachet in the league. When we're talking about the best pass rushers, TJ Watt comes up before Trey Hendrickson. However, if we go purely based off of numbers, Trey Hendrickson has been more productive recently than TJ Watt, believe it or not. Again, so the last 2 years, Trey Hendrickson has, I think off the top of my head, 34 and a half sacks. That's more sacks than any other pass rusher in football. So again, that gets us to our name recognition. He plays in Cincinnati. He doesn't do crazy sack dances or anything. The Steelers are an iconic franchise. There's a lot of reasons why we perceive different players for different things. But again, Trey Hendrickson is a really talented player, but TJ Watt's been battling some injuries. And if you look back to how TJ Watt's season ended last year, his final 3 regular season games, he had 0 sacks. Their playoff game, 0 sacks. So, TJ Watt got the bag. The Steelers had no other choice. They're in the deep end of the pool. They married Aaron Rodgers. So you're all in. Are you going to trade away TJ Watt but sign Aaron Rodgers? That doesn't make any sense. Those are opposite anti-moves. You're all in whether you like it or not. That's $108 million fully guaranteed dollars to TJ Watt with some injury issues. That may be a deal they regret, but they had no choice.
Wow, a lot of cool people in the house today. How about Nicky Lamagino in the house today?
Lerch, is there an update?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have what I believe at this point is the finished product, but now we have to do our video thing.
Okay.
Nick Lamagino, former bandmate of mine in the old band Northern Lights. Nick has continued to be a musician for years past that. It's been a long time since Northern Lights convened on any stages. But Nick has been working. We'll let the cat out of the bag. Nick has been working on a project for us, Boy Green, where we will, and I think we'll have it done in the next, hopefully week or two, maybe sooner if we can get everything moving forward. But we're gonna have what you call a show open. I know for your Boy Green Daily, you got like a cool little show open, and it's like your daughter's in it. I love it. She's got a little sound in there, it's a cool thing. It's like a graphics with music and
there's a lot of stuff going on in there.
Yeah, so we're gonna put a show open together, and it's going to be around call it a jingle, a mini song. I'll call it a jingle. Commercials are jingles.
All right, sure.
A jingle that Nick Lamagino, my good friend, put together with us in mind. So we'll leave it at that. Let's.
Well, I would tell you this, Lerch.
You'll see it. You'll get to see it.
I'm going to throw him back up on the screen here for a second. So there was a little bit of a debate as too aggressive of terminology, but does he go by Nick or Nicky now? Seeing it Nick here on YouTube, I would assume that settles the debate.
Right. It's kind of like me with Jim and Jimmy. When I was younger, a lot of people called me Jimmy or Jimbo. And now if people call me Jimmy, I do a little.
Oh, Lerch, do you want me to work that back in? Do you want me to start calling you Jimbo and Jimmy?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Well,
I don't know. Maybe it's just when you get older, but I prefer Jim over Jimmy. I won't be like, did you just call me Jimmy? I do sometimes take on people when they call me James, which is really my name, my formal name. That's what's on my birth certificate. And I say, I usually will say to people who call me James, I'll be like, that is my name, but only my teachers and my mother call me that. Okay. So, so you don't need to call me that. You can call me Jim, or if you want Jimmy or Jimbo, right? But not Jimmy, but not.
Okay. It's good Jim just to clarify.
So yeah, I think Nicky now goes by Nick, but Nick and I grew up together.
I think you're in that elite club where you're
allowed. We used to walk
to
elementary school together, and he would tell you horrific stories about that. I find them to be absolutely hysterical. And maybe someday we could share that with the viewers and the listeners here on our YouTube channel. But I was Jimmy and he was Nicky when we were kids. Now we're Nick and Jim, I guess. So look, his own name says Nick. I mean, on the screen you see it there. He identifies himself as Nick.
That's a good point. That's a telltale sign.
We should leave it as Nick. Although he is a junior. I knew his dad many years ago. And his dad was Nick, so he was Nicky. I didn't want to call him Nick and Nick. It was
I see.
Nick was the big dad. His dad was a big guy, and he was Nicky. But now that
you see that makes sense because my son, who's in the other room, he's Paul the Third, and every once in a while we get PE3, but the common term is Paulie.
I
That's
was gonna
the
say they
sort of
call him
name that
Paulie.
just
Yeah,
people have said a lot. So like, Nicky, Polly, Paul,
maybe
Nick.
Little
There you
Paul, or Itty Bitty Paul, because you'd be
go.
Little Paul, right?
That's true. That's a
Your
good
dad is
point.
Paul.
Right.
Is there a Paul above your dad in your family
There
or
is
no?
not.
No.
No.
Okay. So he's the first. You're the junior. All right.
Yep.
And your son is PE3.
There you go.
Which is great. That
Let's
has a
go,
great
baby.
ring to it, by the way. PE3. I mean,
And I'll tell you
that
this.
sounds as good as RG3. I mean, it just rolls right off the tongue.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So I did an interview a couple years ago with Robert Griffin III. I had him on the show, and at the time, my
I saw
fiance
this.
is pregnant, but we
Yes.
don't know if it's a boy or girl.
Mhm.
And I just have him on the show. I'm like, "Hey, Robert," while we're live on the show, I go, "Hey, can I ask you something?" He's like,
Mhm.
"Sure, what's up?" And I'm like, "Well, you're RG3. I mean, that's a pretty sweet nickname. People loved it in the NFL, and that went viral." I said, if I ever had a son, we don't know. My fiance's pregnant. We'll see what happens. I said, can you give me the stamp of approval or the thumbs down, like gladiator style, and just say, sorry, no, I don't give you the approval. If I have a son, is it cool if I call him PE3? You're sort of the gatekeeper, it seems,
Yeah.
on these sort of nicknames.
Yeah.
And he went, absolutely. PE3, I'm all for it.
Go for
And
it.
eventually, obviously, we find out the gender reveal that it ends up being a boy. So I have that video forever saved on my YouTube biggest interviews playlist. And we have RG3 given the stamp of approval for PE3. Hopefully, he sees that one day and it's like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And yep, so that nickname's been approved.
All right, fair enough. Today's broadcast, by the way, brought to you by our friends at Bayberry Automotive, integrity in everything. Our friends at Bayberry. Let's just take 30 seconds and learn a little bit more about our friends.
Integrity is a word that some people just throw around in life. But at Bayberry Automotive, integrity is everything. Integrity of their mechanics, who are all experienced and certified. Integrity in the work they perform, with nothing but 5-star reviews from satisfied customers on Google. Integrity that goes along with family, a family-run business that treats you like one of their own. Integrity in everything. Bayberry Automotive. BayberryAutomotive.com.
Located on Route 57 across from Bayberry Plaza, the premier choice for auto repair in Liverpool.
Yeah, and I got to get me one of those Lambos there out in front of
That's
Bayberry.
what I was just going to say, Lurch, because we have
Yeah.
Nicky Lamangino, we have Paulie, my son, and I want Lamborghini. That's what I want to be riding. So we need to put in a good word there with Bayberry.
By the way, Nick Lamangino has a T-Tops Camaro that
Ooh,
he's
wow.
had. It's a 1980. He told me, I was just in his car when I was down in New York a couple of weeks ago. Oh,
Yeah.
God, I hope I have it right. I think it's a 1986. All right.
Okay.
It's got like 30,000 total miles on it or something. Just
Oh, my God.
insane. Yeah, it's like he stores it in his garage. He takes it to classic car shows and stuff. It's very,
Oh, that's
very, very
cool.
cool. And just looking at all the old technology and the knobs and everything in there, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm back, in the 80s. It's kind of cool. So Nick has had that car forever. That was his baby. I remember when he bought it, and I thought he was going to actually drive it when he bought it. And he barely ever drove it. I was like, you ever take that car out of the garage? I remember all
Yeah,
of us
man.
saying that, we were teenagers, like, what are you going to drive that thing? And now he's got it as a classic car, and it's probably worth a lot of money because there aren't many of them on the road, and his is
There
in
you go.
pristine condition.
Pride and
Yeah.
joy.
So go see our friends at Bayberry. Great, great people. All right. Should we give him we'll give him a voice. I mean, he's there. He's commenting. We'll give him a voice. Your dad is he's a Cowboy fan, as we
Oh
mentioned.
boy. Yeah, he's getting
All right.
aggressive.
So, all right. Let's address him. All right.
Okay.
I'll get after him if you want. Okay. So,
Okay.
so let's just start from the top here because there's a bunch of them I got to throw up here. All right.
Sure.
So,
okay.
first thing he goes after me as a Met fan. He says, I'm happy I'm a Mets fan. That could be the first time anyone ever said that. Well, you know what? PE1, okay? Let me say this to you, PE1, okay? Some of us don't have to be front runners in order to love our team. I offer you your son, okay, and all of his lovely Jet people, who I love, by the way. I love. Just because I'm not a Jets fan doesn't mean I can't love you people. I love you because you root for a team that has had its struggles, that only has one championship. And when you get that next one, and you will get that next one, I believe in your lifetime, okay?
Yes.
You're going to celebrate that like it's 1999, as Prince once said. All right?
That's it, baby.
So
yes.
I love fan bases like that, and the Mets are kind of one of those fan bases too. And I'm a diehard Knick fan, and we're like that too.
Of course.
No championships since 1973. So on and on it goes. So those kinds of things are good. You don't always have to be a front runner fan. You don't always have to be a Yankee guy. You don't have to be a Cowboys guy. You don't have to always be a front guy. Sometimes it's actually better not to be. And then when you get
Yeah.
that championship, you own it, you treasure it, you never forget the year it happened, so on and
That's
so forth.
true.
So that's number one. All right, now, okay, here
Okay.
we go after that. Second, okay, I think you gentlemen are missing Jerry's point. Back to Jerry Jones here again. I think he was saying he's worried about having too much money tied to a player, knowing they could get hurt and they are not on the field. You
I
want to
am
comment
so
on this one?
glad.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so glad you said this because I'm not missing the point. That is the point. Here's the
Yes.
thing I don't understand. I can walk out this door and get struck by a meteor.
Of course.
Anything can happen. I could get hit by a car, drive into the radio station tonight for the Syracuse Mets game. Someone can, when I'm at a red light, they can pull over and do a drive-by and shoot me and kill me. What you have to make is calculated risks. And what Jerry's point is he's too worried about having too much money tied to a player, knowing they could get hurt and they're not on the field. How about this? Let Micah Parsons go if you're so worried about it.
Yeah,
and,
we'll
and
take
you're so worried about investing all this money into Micah Parsons, trade him. Let someone else have the problem. Hey, I'm the New York Jets. Oh, I'll be first in line. You don't want to pay him? I will. We'd love another pass rusher. Send him on down. That makes no sense. It's football. It's a violent, physical game.
You never know
Of
what's going to happen in
course you
football.
have to invest.
Any
Right.
player on the field could be hurt tomorrow in football. That's what football is.
here's
Football is all about risk. It's a game of risks.
Here you go. Let's go to this, right? So the Jets signed C.J. Mosley back in 2019 to an $85 million deal. C.J. Mosley had never missed a game in his entire career to that point. He was drafted in 2014, a first-round draft choice. Jets signed him like, oh, wow, we got this great guy. You want to know what happened in his first year with the Jets on his $85 million deal? He appeared in parts of 2 games. He missed the entire rest of the season because of injuries. He never had an injury. He had no sign, no nothing that he was hurt. Yet, boom, that happened. It can happen with healthy people, again, to the point I just said, with being struck by a meteor or anything. You just have to pick the players that you believe in, their mentality, their everything. And again, Parsons seems to check all those boxes. He has crazy production. He's been a good teammate in the locker room. He's done everything the right way. And if Jerry's worried about paying him, there are 31 other teams in the National Football League that have no issues paying him. I just don't understand that take. So I'm not sure what we didn't get about the Jerry take initially.
I'd trade half of our defense to get him tomorrow. He did say this. I agree with this, actually. Jerry is one of the only owners who would spend any amount of money without a salary cap. I agree with that. Jerry spends. No question. Jerry spends.
Yeah.
At all with what you say there, PE1. Okay. But he goes on to say, I'm willing to call Jerry out for many things, but in my opinion, this is taken out of context. I don't really know how it's taken out of context. I don't know if I buy that one. Jerry could also be setting up not paying Micah. Okay, hey. PE1, you want to pass on Micah and hand him off to the Giants or the Jets or any other team that could use somebody that could rush the passer like that? We'll take him. And then the ultimate insult, and I've insulted myself on this, so this is like really salt into the wounds. By the way, didn't the Giants pass on drafting Micah? Yes, we did. And much to my chagrin. I've talked about this forever.
Oh, God. You're never going to live that one down.
I won't. Yeah. It's just, it is what it is. It is what it is.
But thank you for bringing that up.
Okay. I feel better now. Okay, there's another guy I want to talk about too. That is we haven't seen him in training camp because he's not attending either, and that's this guy, Terry McLaurin. Should the Commanders get him paid and get him into camp? Boy Green.
This is just another thing I don't understand. Dallas, pay Micah Parsons. What are we talking about here? He's so awesome. Let's go to Washington. Terry McLaurin has played with the dumpster fire list of crappy quarterbacks for all the 12 different names his franchise has been called. Redskins, football team, Commanders, whoever the hell you are. You need to pay Scary Terry. You finally have a quarterback. Jaden Daniels, he was awesome last year. NFC Championship game, and it was all the crazy. And one of the main beneficiaries of Jaden Daniels being awesome was Terry McLaurin. He's like, holy crap, I finally have a quarterback. This is the greatest day of all time. And now Terry's like, yeah, I saw Garrett Wilson got paid. Some of these other guys getting paid. Yeah, I'd like my money, please. And they're like, no, okay. This is the first time the new ownership group, Lerch, Josh Harris and company, right, buys Washington. They're the heroes. Dan Snyder sucks. Ooh, Josh Harris, he's the champion. We all love him. Now, this is the first real controversy, adversity, whatever you want to call it here, with Terry McLaurin. Pay Terry. What are we talking about? He has been a stalwart for your franchise. He's an incredibly productive player on the field. He directly benefits your quarterback, Jaden Daniels, being around him. So this one makes no sense. I don't know why they haven't paid him. And here's the thing. If I'm Terry McLaurin, the thing I'm pissed off about, They just traded for Deebo Samuel earlier this offseason. Deebo Samuel's making more money than Terry McLaurin. How the hell does that make any sense? A mercenary
Makes
comes
no
in
sense.
making more money than me. I've been here the entire time. You're going to pay him more with this trade with San Francisco? Squeeze me? You better pay me. So I think that could cause all kinds of locker room issues. I don't understand that one at all. Washington is screwing the pooch here.
Yeah. I guess McLaurin has reached that magic 30. I don't know. I mean, is that the age for receivers these days, Boy Green? I would think it'd
I don't
be
know if
a
I
little
feel that
more
way
than
for
that.
receivers, but I understand the age thing, and they're going to give him this 3 or 4 year deal
Yeah.
of crazy money. But hey, it is what it is. When you're next up in line, right? Garrett Wilson, he's the 5th highest paid receiver in football right now. Is he the 5th best receiver in football? I would say not. As a matter of fact, I don't think he's anywhere close to being the 5th best receiver. He has to prove himself.
Correct.
So
Could be.
you don't. It's not always commensurate to where you are in the league. Sometimes you're just next up. You're the next highly thought of wide receiver to be paid. The market bears what the market bears, and that's the price. So either you pay it or trade him and someone else will. There again, same thing with Micah Parsons in a different way because Micah's more valuable, but there would be teams lining up the wazoo to pay Terry McLaurin a lot of money and trade for him. So again, to watch it, if you don't want to pay him, someone else certainly will.
And Washington, Washington's really, they're in an interesting place. I mean, if their quarterback performs as good, if not better, this coming year than he did last year, and I know we saw some regression in C.J. Stroud, in year 2. I'd like to see him bounce back here in year 3 as well for the Texans. Washington is definitely in a window where they could contend for a Super Bowl ring. They could win the whole thing. It's not unfathomable. Watch what they did last year. Watch how they performed in the playoffs. They have something right now. You can't mess with that by taking a vet, a guy that's like kind of a go-to, a nice outlet guy for your young quarterback who's very sure-handed and be messing around with contract stuff with a guy like this. They need Terry McLaurin. Who are some of the guys that are going to play that spot if McLaurin's not in there? This is, again, a no-brainer to me. They've got the young quarterback on the rookie contract right now. They're not having to pay him. This is when you pay the other guys. And so you got to pay a guy like McLaurin. 30 or not, he's still an excellent receiver. He's super productive. I think he's even proven. I know he's had some nicks and bangs up, but I still think he's proven to be pretty durable too. I like Terry McLaurin. The Commanders ought to get on this quickly.
And Lerch, you just said the last final point there that makes the most sense. Jaden Daniels is on his rookie deal, which gives you and obviously he's worth way more than the money you're paying him. This is the unique loophole in the contracts of what NFL teams drool about. Oh my, the Seahawks won a Super Bowl, Russell Wilson on his rookie contract. You have an opportunity when you're paying Russell Wilson peanuts to pay everybody else a lot of money. And then when Russell Wilson eventually had to get paid, then you had to make all kinds of business decisions and cut guys who are really good. You're Washington. You're paying Jaden Daniels relative peanuts for what he's bringing you to the table. Now is the perfect and only time to pay Terry McLaurin, sign him for 2 or 3 years, and when you have to pay Jaden in 2 or 3 more years, then we can figure it out then. It seems quite frankly, everything lines up perfectly. You can pay Terry and tie it directly to when you have to pay Jaden Daniels, which, by the way, would be after the 2026 season. That is the earliest you could pay Jaden, so that's 2 seasons from now. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I almost I don't agree with either situation, but I almost understand the Bengals situation better considering what they've just shelled out than I do the Commanders who are not in the same predicament. Sometimes you're in a predicament. Sometimes you're not. The Commanders are not in a predicament. Their biggest predicament is, do we have enough to get to the Super Bowl, and not mess up that roster by just saying, he's 30 now, and how much more do we want to extend this guy? Just pay and move on, because we say it time and time again, Boy Green, and it's just proven to be true every single year. The longer you wait, the more you pay, not the less. The price never goes down. Anyone ever rent an apartment? I want any of you that ever rented an apartment, including some of you that have or live in apartments these days, okay, to tell me the last time your landlord came knocking on your door, okay, and said, hey, Paulie boy, you've been such a good tenant. You've paid us on time for the last 5 years you lived here. Guess what? We're lowering your rent. No. The only thing you ever get is the notice in your email or your text saying, hey, the rent's got up another $100 a month for this year.
Yep.
Too bad, pal. You want to live here? That's what you're paying. This is the same thing in football, man. The rent never goes down. It only goes up.
Hey, if we could get a change on that, I'd really appreciate it. Landlord, if you watch the show, I don't know if we're interested in lowering the price. I have been a wonderful tenant, but
Yes.
we'll keep you posted on that.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, Jamie's getting after me on the Cowboys deal. Here, all right, let me throw this up
Oh,
here.
boy.
Jamie, the FedEx guy, jumping in. Manchild, you hate the Commanders. They made you have to
That's
dress
true.
up in Cowboys gear on draft night. He's talking about our fantasy draft. Folks, to put it all on the table, for those of you that don't
Yes.
know, we have 4 fantasy leagues associated with the show.
Yep.
The Champs League, the top league, the Chumps League, which you drop down to
Mhm.
if you're in the bottom 3 of the Champs League every year, okay? The Triple C League, and the Quad Cities League. We now have 4 leagues. They're all 12-team leagues. Fantastic.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, we're going to talk fantasy football this coming Friday with our
Correct.
fantasy
And
insider
every
from
Friday.
RotoWire, Joe Bartle. And by the way, that's going to be a pop-up live show for us Friday at 10:30. So we will be live again with you this week, Friday at 10:30, talking all things fantasy football. That's all we do at Joe. We just talk fantasy football and other hijinks, of course. Jamie, the FedEx guy, a.k.a. Jamie O'Hara, you see there on your screen, had a bet with me in last year's, was the playoffs,
Divisional
right?
round.
It was the divisional round, and it was the Lions against the Commanders. And
Yes.
he said on the air to me that he believed that the Commanders are going to win, and he didn't even want the points. He would just take the Commanders straight up. And I was like, I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet. And then we were trying to decide what the bet was going to be. And he knows I hate the Cowboys. He knows I'm a diehard Giants fan. So he said, well, if I win, I want my end of the bet to be you have to come to the fantasy draft dressed in Cowboys gear. And
Yeah, we do a live fantasy
I did
draft
lose
every
that
year.
that
Yes.
bet. And then I did a double or nothing bet too, where I
Oh,
lost that
God.
bet as well, trying to get back my respectability. And now I owe him the dress up in the Cowboys gear and a dinner. All right.
Yeah, right. Now you got to take us all out to
Yeah,
dinner. Yeah,
which I
me,
told
you,
him,
and him.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just him. It's not all of us. You keep
What?
trying to get in on this bet. You're not getting in on it. I'm not treating 2 people to dinner. It's bad enough I have to treat 1. And he's looking for like a fancy dinner too. He wants me to take him like to a steakhouse or something. So
Remember,
anyway,
Lurch,
I
soup and
do owe.
salad does not count for a meal.
I
so
always
just
pay
keep
my
that in mind.
bets. He will
Okay.
get his dinner. And apparently, unless I can contrive some other bet before we get to September and we have our fantasy draft, I will show up to the fantasy draft in Cowboys gear. Ugh,
We'll have to make
awful.
sure we get pictures for that. I will also just want to do a plug just because we're talking about Joe Bartle. If you guys go to our live video section on YouTube right now, you can see that the video is already up for Joe Bartle. You'll see his beautiful face. It's his professional Photoshop from RotoWire. And you guys can submit questions in right now. Just go to that YouTube
Oh,
channel,
that's a great idea.
that YouTube video, and start submitting in your questions. Joe Bartle is a tool for you guys to use. He is a fantasy football expert at rotowire.com. He's been professionally covering fantasy football for a very long time. Use him to help you with your fantasy drafts. If you have fantasy questions, start and sit. Joe Bartle will be joining us this Friday and every Friday moving forward at 10:30 in the morning for your weekly fantasy football questions. We'll be asking him fantasy football questions. He's a part of our Champs Fantasy Football League, so we'll be doing another live draft this year on the Friday of Labor Day weekend, which is one of the final days of the month of August. So, guys, make sure you do that this week and every week moving forward. Work it into your normal rotation. You guys can always ask questions live on the show, but it's even better now that it's on your mind. You can go submit those questions in advance and then rewatch the interview. They're immediately live as a replay option if you can't join us live on Friday. So, great chance, great opportunity. Hopefully, you guys take advantage of it.
By the way, just want to remind you, we have a giveaway going on right now. Once we reach 300 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and by the way, if you want to subscribe, just go to @MC Show Digital right now and click the little subscribe button. Also, click on the little bell for notifications so you know when we're doing pop-up live shows, when we're putting out other content. Like I said, we're dropping content always throughout the week, so you want to click on those notifications as well. But once we get to 300 subscribers, and we're on our road to get there,
125 away.
To pick one of those 300 people to win this David Tyree autograph. Sorry, I'll try to keep my light out of the picture here. David Tyree autograph, The Catch photo right there. Beautiful. It currently is sitting on my wall. It once sat on the wall of our radio studio. And we're going to give away this, and with the frame, everything beautifully done. David Tyree, the Super Bowl inscription. We're going to give that away once we get to 300 subscribers. And then we're going to continue giving away stuff from our studio walls. So you essentially can own a piece of history. We have some Jim Boeheim full size wall posters that we're going to give away. They're actually made of vinyl, so they're not paper. They're really, really nice, that you can hang somewhere of your preference, maybe in your man cave or something. One of them is actually autographed to my old partner, Bud Poliquin. So we're going to give those away. And there's some other really cool things as well. I've got some bobbleheads, some really cool bobbleheads that we had in the studio. Frankly, I just don't have any place for them here in my home anymore, my home studio. So
Right.
I figured, why not give away some history to those of you that want a piece of history, dare I say. So 25 years we were on the radio, and so a lot of those items were sitting in the studio close to 25 years. So we've got some cool nostalgia, dare I say, that you could take home with you. So again, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, reach out to people who love sports content, especially the stuff that we're putting out day in and day out, and get them to subscribe and be part of our little family. Once we get to 300, the first giveaway goes out the door. Exciting
Yes,
stuff.
it's at MC Show Digital. If you're watching on Facebook, the Manchild Show Boy Green Digital, or my YouTube page at Boy Green 25, just hop on over to at MC Show Digital. Again, the quicker we reach 300 subscribers, the quicker we give this prize away to somebody, and then get ready for the next raffle. So we're 125 subscribers away. Help us accelerate that process if you can. Okay, and make sure you get your friends, family, and everybody else to subscribe to the channel and help us spread the word about our show. We'd love your help and assistance in that world.
All right, a couple more items for today's show, Boy Green. I did want to mention this. This was interesting. So I just saw it this morning. We all know that Bill Belichick left the NFL to go coach in college at North Carolina. That surprised a lot of people when that went down a number of months back. And we just learned this morning that North Carolina football has sold out the entire 2025 season. So Bill Belichick, whether you believe he's going to do a great job or not, whether you believe that program's going to rise back to greatness under him, yada, yada, can he coach college kids? Can he go back into that, test tube and make it work? Well, the one thing that has happened for North Carolina is they've sold a bunch of tickets, and I'm sure they're selling plenty of merch because of Bill Belichick. So even if it's just, dare I say, some form of a publicity stunt, if that's all it ends up being in the end, North Carolina will have made some bucks out of it. I'd say that. What are your thoughts on that, Boy Green? Selling out for UNC football this season.
Yeah, and we won't get to see the sold out nature of North Carolina, but we'll get to see it on our end.
They're coming here to Central New York to the JMA Dome. That's correct.
Bill Belichick is going to be in
coach
Syracuse,
of North Carolina,
New York.
in Syracuse. That is so weird.
Yeah, and it looks like that's going to be on Halloween night.
It's Halloween.
So there you go. Spooky. Bill Belichick will be here in town. It's just bizarre seeing him in a cutoff North Carolina hoodie. I imagine I'll go to that game either to cover it or as a fan. Why not? Try to see what the hell is going on. It's sort of crazy. I don't know if you mentioned a PR stunt for North Carolina. It helps. They sold their season tickets, their individual game tickets. All of it is all sold out, so that worked out for them. Is this a ploy by Bill Belichick to eventually launch himself back quickly to the NFL? His buyout numbers decrease as the years of this contract go on.
Mm-hmm.
Is he really this college guy he portrayed himself to be in his introductory press conference, championing his father at Navy and everywhere else, that he said, this was always my calling to come back here, even though everyone else doesn't think so because of NIL and all the craziness. Coaches are running away from this, and I'm running toward it. It doesn't seem to make sense. So it's going to be a fascinating watch, Lerch. Again, sort of the same way as I mentioned about the Dallas Cowboys earlier. If it's an epic disaster, it's wildly entertaining. So if Bill Belichick implodes at North Carolina, that's only going to feed the animals that say that Tom Brady made Bill Belichick and not the other way around. And if he's a rival, like a rousing success, that could open up more doorways for NFL coaches to go, wait a second, look what Bill Belichick's doing. Maybe I need to dip my toe in that water, and maybe we have a reverse pipeline, because normally, Lerch, we talk about the pipeline of college coaches to the NFL, not NFL coaches to college. So maybe something totally new could happen here. It could be crazy.
Yeah, this is a good one. We didn't get a chance to mention Ozzy Osbourne, the rocker extraordinaire, original member of Black Sabbath.
Of course.
Passed away yesterday. Ozzy just recently did a concert.
The farewell tour 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and isn't that interesting? did he know that he was going to go, and did he do this farewell? Did Ozzy essentially perform at his own funeral? I mean, that's like
Right.
there's kind of a karma to that. Like he might have just said, let me go out and do a couple of shows here, before I go.
Mhm.
And let that be a celebration of my life. So fascinating stuff. But Johnny Boy, who always has good questions, asks favorite Ozzy song and Black Sabbath song, and which song is the perfect song to run through a wall before a game. Is he asking for an Ozzy song there? I guess so. So we'll answer
Yeah,
with Ozzy, Ozzy, and Ozzy. All right.
right.
Favorite Black Sabbath song. There are a lot of them. But I'm just going to go with the one that I played for years and years and years in the band, and that's Paranoid. That is just a great song, and a quintessential Black Sabbath song. One of the first songs we actually learned in King's Ransom / Northern Lights. Played it for many, many years, so it's a song I'm very familiar with. So I would go with Paranoid on the Black Sabbath side, even though they have other cool songs. Iron Man, one of my
Of
favorite
course.
songs, really weird
Yeah.
song. That Black Sabbath put out some cool, like psychedelic stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite Ozzy song. I don't know if this would play with a lot of people in terms of their favorite Ozzy song, but I have just always loved Crazy Train. I just like
Mm.
the rhythm of that song. I like that Ozzy, dare I say, that was a little more commercial for Ozzy. But I love it. I love the sounds in that song. So I'd have to say Crazy Train. And that would probably be my perfect song to run through a wall before a game. If I were going to pick an Ozzy song, is Crazy Train. I kind of dig that song. That would get me pumped up before a game. So I'll go Crazy Train, Paranoid is my three.
Okay, I would say this. First off, just on a Crazy Train note, I used to be a Syracuse football season ticket holder with my dad, and before every Syracuse game, they played Crazy Train. That was the go-to song for kickoff. So, obviously that was very football related. And Crazy Train would make a lot of sense to pick the Ozzy song of the favorite, but Mama, I'm Coming Home. And if you listen back to and Ozzy sung that as part of this farewell, again, maybe, funeral singing song, like the way he sounded, obviously, because Ozzy's been dealing with some medical issues the last couple of years, but I don't know. It's sort of like the vinyl conversation, I guess, Lurch, that there are digital sound right now that is crisp and perfect and there's no imperfections. It just sounds like that. To be honest, I prefer the imperfections. The imperfections is what makes it perfect. So I love a vinyl where we get a little bit of a skip. I love that as Ozzy's belting out "Mama, I'm Coming Home," that it's not perfect, but it's Ozzy, and that's even more emotional that he is doing everything in his power to deliver the song to the best of his ability. So, "Mama, I'm Coming Home" is the one that rings true, and obviously there's ties to Crazy Train. I'd probably jump on you with Paranoid, but there's so many great Black Sabbath songs that you can go
War
in a million
Pigs, another
different
good
directions.
one.
Of course,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know
they
that'd
had
be
some
up there
really,
too.
they had some really
But
good, really good.
oh
Thanks for
my
mentioning
god,
that, Johnny Boy.
yeah,
I'm
thanks,
glad.
Johnny.
I might have forgotten to mention the Ozzy thing. But yeah, I wasn't shocked. I mean, Ozzy. I remember seeing Ozzy like 15 years ago when he was doing that TV show. He was doing that reality TV show. I was like, this guy doesn't look
Oh, the
healthy, but
Osbournes! What a great
yeah,
show with his
it was a
family.
good show. His son was
Yeah,
very good on that show. His daughter
Sharon, obviously his wife, right?
his
Yeah,
wife was interesting on that show. His daughter was interesting on that. He was
what a show!
Ozzy as a family guy. Like it was so crazy outside the box that you just had to watch. It was it was one of those like I gotta watch this. There's
And
just a
never understanding
craziness
what he
to
was
it.
saying and different. I'm leaning in like what's going on here? Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
great stuff.
I think the Ozzy reality show and the Gene Simmons reality show, all right, two different
Oh
guys, obviously, were
yeah,
both fascinating to me because to see these
very.
guys who are rock icons actually have kids and wives and have a family
They're
life.
more than the character they portray, right?
Yes, right. So you get to kind of see a little about who they really are. And I
Right.
kind of appreciated that. And Ozzy
Sure.
was so wacky, so kind of
Mhm.
kooky. He was such a kooky human being. But you know what? If you've ever met, artists in your life, whether it's music artists, painting artists, artists of any sort, those that write in the artsy world, they all have they're unique, they don't have kind of normal home lives, or if they do,
Mhm.
you feel like it's so kind of strange in a way that's the nature of artsy people. So
Yeah.
I love that. I love seeing stuff that's
Perfect.
different sometimes. And so reality TV, it's right. So much of it is, much of the same. So,
Right.
yeah, I think that's part of the deal. All right, last thing I want to touch on today, Boy Green, just to put a nice, neat bow on it, dare I say, is the early exit, dare I say, the second round or whatever they call it at this point. It was a second game. Boeheim's Army, the team of primarily Syracuse basketball alum, playing in TBT, the basketball tournament, for $1 million, and they
Yep.
get knocked out. I guess I will have to say, embarrassingly, by a team called We Are D3.
Embarrassing.
Now, I did talk to Mike McAllister, and you'll see it in our interview, which we're releasing later this week, about this We Are D3 team. And I said, should this be, I asked Mike the question, should this be humiliating, dare I say, that a team comprised mostly of former D1 players, some of whom have gone on to the pros, to lose to a team that was billed as primarily D3 players? Now, Mike did defend that cause a little bit in saying that while many of the players that are on We Are D3 started in D3, many of them ascended to greater programs and did even play Division I basketball. So maybe it's not quite as humiliating as it felt.
I guess.
One guy dropped 36 points on him. That's always embarrassing. And so Boeheim's Army, unfortunately, a team that looked like it had actually a very good roster this season and could go deep in the tournament. They last won it in 2021. Does not. So disappointing, and certainly for Boeheim's Army.
I still think it's embarrassing because, again, Boeheim's Army, this is the first year offseason, whatever you want to call it, that Jim Boeheim has actually been a part of Boeheim's Army. He has helped informally and in other ways, but, he was around the team. He was in the building as they were playing these games. Like, to finally get him to commit, to get Jimmy and Buddy, to have everyone that you had with this Malachi Richardson, to get this whole team together and blow it. You win one game, okay, you're supposed to, and then you lose the second game at home, this SRC arena. Again, I don't know, massive amounts of embarrassing and disappointing here.
Yes, for sure. If you want to see the look of disappointment, here's Buddy Boeheim, Jim Boeheim's son, youngest son.
Is there crowd or whatever it is?
Just,
court.
We Are D3 celebrating there in the background, right
Court
here in
rush,
Central
right.
New York. It was at the SRC Arena, which is at Onondaga Community College, just 5 minutes from downtown. And there's Buddy Boeheim. As the Elam ending, always a game-winning shot. The shot's made, and We Are D3 celebrating Buddy Boeheim, walking off in dejected fashion. It has a familiar ring. Buddy somewhat dejected at the end of his Syracuse career. They did not have a good year. That was the first year in the history of Jim Boeheim as coach that they finished under 500.
Losing season,
years, right? Over 45 years of coaching, the only losing season they've ever had. And the same kind of look here at the end of Boeheim's Army's run. Oh, poor Buddy. Feel bad.
And the other part I feel embarrassed about is for us, Lerch. We told these fans in our audience that some may not even be Syracuse people, hey, you ever heard of this TBT thing? Hop on the Boeheim's Army train. It's going to be fun. Immediately eliminated. It's embarrassing for us. Yeah.
We'll see. Will they make another run at it next year? I mean,
Maybe.
They got their support back. Adam Weitzman, a longtime Boeheim and SU basketball supporter who was estranged a couple of years ago, came back to help put this roster together. Jim Boeheim, as you mentioned, was somewhat involved as an advisor / honorary coach in some way. So we'll see, can they get the band back together? But I was impressed actually by the players that came out, not only both of the Boeheim boys, but Elijah Hughes, who unfortunately had a terrible game against We Are D3, but I think is a very accomplished player. Elijah, by the way, apologized for his performance. How about that? A player after a game going onto his social media and apologizing for his poor play.
See that.
Love
accountability.
To see that. Elijah is an accountable guy, and I hope we do see him back in TBT next summer. But no doubt, even though they packed the house at the SRC for these two games, that Syracuse and Boeheim's Army here goes out with a thud, or a whimper, maybe is the better way to say it. So, oh man, sad. What could I say?
Pull out the violins.
All right, Boy Green. Anything else you want to drop here? I always give you final thoughts on the show. So, have I missed anything? What do you think? Brett Badshaw asking, how you all like switching to
I think
digital?
it's a good question, Lurch. We have a couple of weeks under our belt here. For those who, again, don't know that this show was a radio program for 23 years, going
doubt.
into its 24th year, and now we're completely digital, which basically you obviously see me and Lurch are from our houses, operating with all the craziness that happens at our houses in the middle of programs.
A lot more
and
craziness
shows.
at your house than my house.
It
All I
seems
have is
that
a
way.
sleeping dog about 3 feet away from me on the floor that literally is out cold right now, snoring. Right?
Right.
You got 2 young kids running around and a fiance and a lot more going on there. I hear the clanking of dishes in the background, as they say.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. So, but Badshaw, it is different. I will tell you, it's going to be very different here in a couple of months, and I'll explain for people who don't know. One of the other things I do at the radio station that I still do is I work Syracuse Mets broadcast. So I come in at night when everyone is gone, and so I'm just sitting in the same studio that we used to do our show from,
Right.
and it's barren. There's nothing
blank
in there.
walls now, right? Because we put
It's
everything that
blank
was on
walls.
the walls we had, which like I said, we're going to give away here in
Right.
the upcoming months. So keep again pumping people to subscribe to our
Yes,
YouTube
please.
channel at MC Show Digital. Go on, Boy Green.
Yeah, right. So I'm in this room. I barely see anybody ever at the station. I saw our engineer yesterday, Dave Edwards, for the first time in weeks. It was just sort of a wave. We didn't even communicate. We just waved
Right.
to each other as he was walking out of the building. So it's just different. It's bizarre. But Syracuse Mets season ends the second or third week of September. Then I'm just going to be home full time. I'm not going to be going out to any radio station until the new year, the next year, probably. So that is going to be even more jarring and different, but it has been different. But to be honest, I love that you guys have been so open to this. Obviously, I've been swimming in the digital waters for many years, doing Boy Green Daily and all my other video shows, digital shows, but it's cool that this other part of my life has now merged together. So now you guys are getting this digital show, you're getting my Jets shows, you're getting everything that's all together here. So it's a brave new world. The Lurch, you're probably the better one to ask. You've been doing the radio game a lot longer than I have. I've only been in it for 10 years as an intern, producer, co-host, everything extraordinaire. You've done it a lot longer. How is this new world? This has got to be a jarring change for you.
Now, look, the new world is awesome. I really, really have enjoyed it. I love the interactivity. I love the fact that people can just throw up comments while we're in the middle of doing a show. We can bring them onto the screen as we're doing right now. I love that. I love that we can bring media to this. I also want to just take a moment to thank our former radio sponsors who have come over into this digital world with us. We heard from one of them today, Sean Hines, who's the owner of Played Against Sports right here in Syracuse. Today's broadcast, again, brought to you by our friends at Bayberry Automotive. Really great guys over there. John Wright and his team, fantastic people. Crest Cadillac is a sponsor of ours as well. Cam's Pizzeria, Tony Calacibetta for forever has been part of it. And Box Drop Syracuse, a great discount mattress and now sofa place that's saving people here in Central New York tons and tons of money. All these people have said, yeah, we want a piece of this. And so we're going to, we're in the process of basically building it from the ground up. Appreciate all of you who have joined in on it. And it's only going to get better. We're going to take more live calls on the air. We're going to build ourselves, kind of call it like a VIP club for people that are really dedicated to this channel, really dedicated to being part of our family. And I inevitably seeing it going a lot of the same places where you've taken your wonderful channel, Boy Green Daily, and your show that you do every morning. And that is building a community of people and then doing things with them. You have this great event. Go ahead and plug it. I love that you plug it. I'm still trying to see if my son is willing to get me on board to come to this thing, and maybe it can come together in October. But you've got a big event coming up. You're going to the Cowboys-Jets game down at the Meadowlands at MetLife. You've got a chef. You're doing a big tailgate. You're doing some giveaways. Tell people a little bit more about it. You could certainly plug it here, of course.
Of course, yes. So week 5, that's Sunday, October 5th, the New York Jets host the Dallas Cowboys at MetLife Stadium. We have selected that game. It was a thought I had in the very early portions of the offseason that I would reach out to the Jets, see what it entailed to host something and all the rules and everything of that nature. And long story short, we picked the Jets-Cowboys game. We're going to all sit together at section 228A, so great seats. So 51 of us is the current number right now, and that number continues to grow as people people jump on the train. 51 of us are all going to be screaming for this Jets-Cowboys game during the game, Section 228A. Before the game, Boy Green Coffee Club member, diehard Jets fan, Chef Kevin Gilbert, a professional chef in New Jersey, will be catering the entire event for food with
And I have
all
heard the
kinds
menu,
of wonderful
folks.
things.
Oh my God, the food.
Oh,
is
Lerch, you're going to love
fantastic.
this.
Did he
We'll
add
have
something
that.
now? Oh my
The
God.
thing, well, he did add something. There is there's a custom item for a lot of the people that are going to be there. So he
Okay.
added another one for my father in honor of my father. And I heard him describe it. I'm like, come on.
Do we really
man.
need to do that? Do we really need to honor your father anymore?
Well, I guess that's a separate debate to have whether or not we should. But what Chef is going to do is he's going to make all of these items that he's actually going to make in October, make them in advance, and take professional photos of them so we can show the people what it's going to look like. And oh my God, he was describing that process. So we should have those photos soon. So when we talk about it, we can throw the juicy photos on the screen of what they're going to be. So yeah, he has a full catered menu. So everyone's going to eat before the game. And so it's wonderful. And yes, we are giving away throughout the rest of the month of July. We're collecting raffle tickets. People can attempt to buy a raffle ticket to win 2 tickets to the game, 2 tailgate tickets. That's all the food and drink, and then 2 T-shirts as well for the contest. So yes,
Nice.
It's a $20 raffle ticket. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel, which is free to do, and send in $20. You can either buy that on YouTube or you can send that along via PayPal or Venmo at BoyGreen25. So good luck to anybody. NFL games are really expensive, so good luck to everybody in that opportunity to potentially win a prize. So yes,
right.
That's all going on.
And one last plug for the Tyree
Yes, please.
autographed photo here. All right, David Tyree autograph photo going out the door to one of our first 300 subscribers. So we still need a little over 100 more people to subscribe to our YouTube channel at MC Show Digital, and then one of you will win this really cool framed thing. Exactly the way you see it is exactly the way it will be delivered to you. So just pass this along to your friends, your family, people that you know would appreciate us, and help grow our little family. Because the more we grow, the more we can deliver to you day in and day out. But no, to answer your question all the way back to Bad Shaw's question, how am I liking it? I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving building a community, and I think it's only going to get better. Again, don't forget, outside of our live shows, I know we've been with you live every Monday and Wednesday.
Yes.
We've got us pop up live again on Friday with our fantasy insider, Joe Bartle. We'll probably do that regularly as a live thing where you can interact directly with Joe as well. But we're putting out content on other days of the week, and as long as you not only subscribe, but click on that notifications, you're going to find out when we're putting out stuff. A lot of really, really cool content. Like I said, we put out Yankees content this week. We've got some more SU football and basketball content out this week. We've really, really been trying to, hit all of those places that we gravitate here in that regional world of New York sports. So make sure that you get those alerts to your phone so that you know when we're putting out material, because a lot of it's a lot of fun. Hey, and if it's stuff you're not interested in, you're not a Yankee fan, like I'm not watching that Berbari interview, man. I don't want nothing to do with those darn Yankees. I'm glad I missed that thing, frankly, Boy Green, other than I wanted to tell him which is the better broadcasting school, because we all know it's the Newhouse School and not that little rinky-dink think down there in Fordham. Yeah.
Right. A couple of things to finish this off, Lerch. First off, I just got a notification. Apparently, Jackson Dart just threw a pick 6 at Giants camp.
Oh, bummer.
So, which
really
brings us
matters.
to Johnny Boy. When will Lerch convert to a Jets fan? It sounds like a perfect time is now there, Lerch.
You know what? I'll say this, Johnny Boy. I will say this. I don't think that conversion's coming anytime soon. But if you're going to learn a few things about me that are different than my partner, I love my partner to death, but he has a very distinct vision about sports and fandom, and mine is very different. It just, look, we all are who we are, right? We're all human beings, and we have our own things, right? I like the pink drink. We talk about that at the beginning of the show today. Maybe you hate the pink drink. I don't blame you if you do. All right. Everybody has their own things. Absolutely, as I've said, I'm a diehard Mets fan. I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I'm a diehard Giants fan. All right. Those are the 3 biggies that really, that I'm really, really strongly attached to. But I am an appreciator of other teams. For instance, you won't like this, but my son spent a lot of time in college. Well, spent 4 years in college in Pittsburgh, and I was up to Pittsburgh regularly. And even as a kid, when I was growing up, the Giants were so bad that how sometimes guys have a second team. Well, the Steelers obviously were fantastic back in those days, and I was kind of a secondary Steeler fan, dare I say. I liked a lot of the Steelers players. I loved Terry Bradshaw. So I have those teams that they may not be my primary, but I still like them. And I think when I left New York, see, when I was down in New York, which is where I grew up in Queens, I absolutely positively was a diehard Met fan and hated the Yankees. I was a diehard Giant fan and hated the Jets. I mean, it was just you down there, it's battle lines. Like you're living in the neighborhoods, and if your buddy's a Jet fan and you're a Giant fan, you're like, don't come across my fence line, man. There's just that kind of mentality. Same thing with the Mets and the Yankees and so on and so forth. Now that I've been here in central New York longer than I've actually been down
Crazy.
in New York, which is hard to believe because that's where I grew up. I actually, all of that has really softened. Dare I say, I've gotten warm and fuzzy, Johnny boy. So I actually really like the Jets and root for them now, so, they're not my number one, but I still like them. And I would enjoy going to a Jet game, and you might see me down there in October.
Ooh.
I kind of want the Jets, would love for that stigma of, one championship to become two. I know how hard this guy next to me roots for it. It would be kind of fun to watch him get a chance to celebrate that. So I like that. And I've softened. I mean, still don't like the Yankees, but I actually, I can tolerate them now. I can tolerate them.
Okay. That's progress.
And there are plenty of teams in the NBA that I like beyond the Knicks, and plenty of players in the NBA that I like beyond the ones that play in the Knicks laundry, dare I say. So I'm a great appreciator. You're going to see it with my hats. I mean, this one today is not a logoed hat, but you're going to see me in Chargers gear, and you're going to see me in Steelers gear, and you're going to see me in other things. I got Detroit Lions stuff because I've kind of recently become kind of
stuff.
I love the
right?
Lions. The Lions a great struggle for many, many years, like so many other organizations, and now they're coming up, and I love that. So I'm not a front runner. I'm not jumping on the Lions just because I'm a front runner. I'm jumping on the Lions because I love the story. And I want to be like a small part of that story. I'm never going to say that I was a Lions fan the whole time. When they win the championship, go to their parade. But what I am saying is I would be happy if the Lions won. I would be happy. If my team's not winning, why not somebody like the Lions? Why not somebody like the Jets? So I think I gravitate to the teams that struggle a little bit more. And that's why I think I don't have any love for the Cowboys and never will. The Yankees, like I said, I can tolerate them now, but I don't think I'll ever have any kind of love or passion for them. I'll never be like, oh, the Yankees won the World Series. Great. No, probably I'm rooting for their opponent no matter what, but so you draw your battle lines, and mine, I would say, maybe compared to a lot of you folks, I'm just a little softer around the edges. Maybe it's just old age. Maybe it's just moving to a place like Central New York where we don't have our own pro team. We don't have a stadium right up the block, right up, in the next town that we can go to. It's 2 hours to Buffalo, as I mentioned. It's 4 hours down to the Meadowlands. We're in a little bit, dare I say, a little bit more of a neutral place. We're kind of like Switzerland up here. But I have my roots. I have my fandom. I'm sticking to those things, but I can appreciate your Jets. So thank you for asking.
There you go.
It's not happening tomorrow, but I do appreciate you, man.
Okay, and one last point here is Badshaw says, when are we getting some more Survivors? A big Survivor fan. Well, two things here, Badshaw. When the new season comes out, season 49, it comes out this fall. It'll be in the September, so we're still, I guess, 2 months away from that. We will have Brett LaBelle, our guy, join us every week to recap the episode. We'll hammer out time. Back in the old days, it was Thursday. Maybe it'll be Wednesday night. I don't know. Immediately after the episode.
I know. I was thinking that, Boy Green. I was thinking the other day, do we do like an immediate reaction to Survivor on Wednesday nights? That might be
I'd imagine that would hit immediately because Survivor fans would be ready to talk about it immediately.
Agree.
And if people go to sleep and wake up the next morning, they can watch it because it'll be immediately available. So
exactly. Hot off the presses, baby.
It may be that way. And leading up to, 2 months from now, it's not the only Survivor content we're going to have. I actually just texted as soon as you sent that in, Badshaw. There's a certain Survivor legend that is in our midst that just got married, or he would have already joined us on the show. So I just reached out to congratulate him, of course, on his wedding. And he has already volunteered. He's a Syracuse brethren to join us. So that will be another piece of Survivor content here in the near future. Could be as early as next week. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. But we'll have other drops of Survivor between the seasons and things of that nature. But it's going to be a real big part of what we do, Lerch.
Yeah, you can tell Bad Show who it is. That's totally cool.
Okay, it's David Wright, baby.
David Wright,
Syracuse
who's
alum.
fantastic.
Yes.
He's really good too. I really enjoy talking Survivor with him. He was really quirky on the show, right? He's been on twice, correct? Because he had it.
Twice. Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
I remember in the first season because he's like a scared of his own shadow kind of guy. And man, has he changed? Yeah, there's our Survivor template, baby. Let those
That looks
tiki
so sweet.
torches burn, baby.
Come on, look at this.
So yes, lots more Survivor content coming. We generally really will ramp that up and give you weekly content, if not even beyond weekly content, once the show is actually back on the air, which you know is twice a year. And then we have these little lulls in between where they're doing filming. As a matter of fact, what they're filming 50 right now, Boy Green. Right?
They already
40.
did. Filming is complete for
Done
50
already?
already.
Wow. So filming
Yeah.
for 50 is already done. We're about to see 49 in the fall. All right. So
Correct.
49's obviously been done for a bit. We're going to see 49 in the fall, and then the big, anniversary season, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, in the spring of 2026.
Right? I think 50 is the silver anniversary. So the silver anniversary,
There you go.
50th Survivor. Wow. It's amazing that show has gone on that long. So yes, that's coming your way. So we love Survivor. Boy Green and I have been doing Survivor content on the radio for 10 plus years.
Yes.
And we're going to bring it to digital, and we're going to probably
Yes.
amplify it and do even more, get you more cast members, more Survivor insight, maybe even some Survivor giveaways. So look out, baby.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that could be a lot of fun.
All
So
right.
thanks, Bad Shot, for the question.
So I guess that's a nice,
Yeah, sure.
neat wrap up on today's show.
Yeah.
We'll tie it all up in a nice little neat bow. And thank, again, all of you for tuning in today and for commenting in the comments. Always great to hear from you. Thanks to our sponsor for today, Bayberry Automotive, and for all our wonderful sponsors who you see right up above me in the upper right-hand corner. And don't forget, pass it along. That David Tyree thing going out the door sooner rather than later if we get to 300 subscribers. So help us get to that number. Let people know about us again at MC Show Digital on YouTube. That's where you want people to subscribe, and click on that notifications button as well. All right, Boy Green, as they say, so long. Peace out from
Yes. And final salute is just like the video, hit subscribe, everything Lerch just said. Again, we'll have Joe Bardo, our RotoWire fantasy football expert,
Live!
a regular that'll be joining us live on Friday morning at 10:30. We'll have Yankees content coming on the show tomorrow at 11. Plus, as Lerch said earlier, for you local people, Mike McAllister will also be dropping this week as well. So plenty of content, Lerch.
All right. Going to be a lot of fun, folks. Keep tuning in. We'll see you again on Friday live at 10:30. Peace out.